If opening LinkedIn lately has made you feel like AI evolved while you were busy actually working, you're not imagining it because something has changed again. But this time, it's different. We are no longer in the era of asking AI to draft an email. We've entered the era of AI collaborators, AI workflow partners, AI execution layers, and increasingly, AI-enhanced professionals, which means this is no longer just about technology. It's about competition. It's about client expectations. And it is about operational advantage. And yes, it's about whether your practice is keeping pace. Welcome to the Practice Playbook podcast, your go-to resource for legal professionals, mediators, and entrepreneurial experts building modern, profitable, and purpose-driven businesses. I'm your host, Susan Guthrie, attorney, mediator, and #1 best-selling author with over 35 years of experience. I'm a former chair of the ABA section of dispute resolution, and I've helped thousands of professionals build practices they love through my books, coaching, and training programs. Each week, I'll bring you real-world strategies, mindset shifts, and behind-the-scenes insights to help you grow with clarity, confidence, and impact. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Practice Playbook podcast, where I talk about building smarter, stronger, and more sustainable professional practices. I'm Susan Guthrie, your host, and today, listeners, it's just you and me, because I think we need to have a candid conversation about what is happening right now with artificial intelligence and what it actually means for those of us in professional practice. Not the hype, not the endless parade of shiny new tools, and not the social media frenzy that you've probably been seeing lately of, look what this AI can do now. What this actually means for those of us serving clients, building businesses, growing practices, and trying to stay relevant in a world that seems to be shifting at warp speed. Because if you've been feeling a little overwhelmed lately, I promise you, you are not alone. Even for those of us who live in this space, the pace right now is breathtaking. So let's talk about what's really happening. Over the past few weeks, it feels like the AI world has been in overdrive. Every time I open up my LinkedIn feed or my Instagram feed or a blog post or anything, watch the news, it has felt like AI is coming at us from all different directions with new capabilities, new tools, new integrations, and constant new announcements. And if you're someone with an actual job and actual clients with actual deadlines and an actual life outside of all that, you may be wondering when exactly you were supposed to become an expert in all of this. And that's honestly a fair question, because what we are watching is not just product evolution. It's a shift in how work itself gets done. And that's why today's conversation matters, because this is no longer about whether AI is interesting. It's no longer even about whether AI is useful. The real question is, what happens when your competitors begin operating with a fundamentally different level of leverage? That's what I want to talk to you about today. I'm going to start with something important because I want you to know this is not a panic episode. I'm not here to tell you the robots are finally taking over. I'm not here to tell you to abandon your professional judgment. And I'm certainly not here to tell you to go sign up for every shiny new AI tool that lands in your inbox. That's not strategy. That is digital FOMO, digital fear of missing out. And I get it because I am getting such a flood of shiny new objects in AI that I'm living it myself. And that's why I'm talking about it with you. What I am saying to you is that something important has shifted. We are at a point in time where something has shifted because for a long time, many professionals have viewed AI as a novelty, something interesting and useful. It's a drafting helper, a research shortcut, a fun experiment. Basically, hey, look, it can write an email. But that era is over. I liken it to, do you all remember when the pandemic first started, March of 2020, right? And we were all sitting around thinking that this would be over in 2 weeks, that for 2 weeks we were all going to be stuck in the house with our loved ones or not so loved ones, watching Netflix, eating some ice cream, and basically treating it like an extended snow day. And then 2 years later, we were still doing it. There was a seminal shift from what we thought and what the reality was. Well, we're there now as it comes to AI, because what we're watching now is the movement from AI as a tool to AI as infrastructure. And that's a big shift because tools in our practice are optional. I talk about them all the time when I do mediation trainings, right? It's just another tool to add to our toolbox. We have the discretion which tool we bring out because tools are optional. Tools are discretionary. Infrastructure changes the environment. It's different. And that's exactly what's happening right now. This is no longer just about asking a chatbot a question. We're now seeing systems that can collaborate with us, research, reason across multiple documents, support workflow execution, handle multi-step tasks, act more like a thought partner, and that all changes the game. Now, let me make this personal, so maybe this will help to explain what I mean here. As many of you know, I've been deeply immersed in AI for quite some time, right? Ever since ChatGPT dropped out of the sky on us on November 20th, 2022. I teach on it, I speak on it, I consult around it, I write about it. And even with all of that, my own workflow has evolved dramatically. I was an early and heavy ChatGPT user, and I still use it at times. But recently, and I mean in the last couple of months, I have migrated much of my strategic day-to-day work over to Claude because I found certain capabilities there especially strong for the type of collaboration and thinking that I do. At the same time, I've been increasingly experimenting with Perplexity for research workflows. And just, for fun, I keep a toe in ChatGPT and Gemini. And honestly, at this point, I've not crowned a winner. In fact, I find them all useful for different things and different reasons. And I find I use them in differing amounts and in differing ways. But I can share that I have set up 2 additional computers in my office in addition to the one that I do my Zoom calls on, that I check my emails on, that I do my work on. One of them is running Claude on the computer, and one of them is running Perplexity on the computer. And even right now, as I am working and recording this podcast episode, each one of them is working on a project for me, a client project. So I am working while I am doing something else. That's what I'm trying to help you understand is changing. So it's not picking one and going with it. It's not crowning a winner, because I don't think that's the right mindset for us to go into. This is not like choosing your favorite sports team and then you have to stick to it for the rest of your life. God knows Chicago fans where I live right now, they stick to them for their entire lives, right? But this is not about choosing your favorite sports team. This is about understanding capabilities and matching them to business needs. And that distinction matters because one of the most common questions I get is, what's the best AI tool? And now my answer is almost always, that's the wrong question. The better question is, what problem are you trying to solve? Because professionals who are pulling ahead right now are not necessarily the ones with the most tools. They're the ones thinking strategically about leverage. Come on, many of us come from a legal background. We understand leverage. Leverage is where opportunity lives. This is where this gets especially important. Your clients who you serve with services do not care which AI platform you use. Let me say it again. Your clients do not care whether you use Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, or whatever launches next Tuesday. They care about the experience, responsiveness, convenience, clarity, confidence, and value. That's it. And while they may never know exactly what's happening behind the curtain, they will absolutely feel the difference between practices that operate efficiently and those that do not. Think about two professionals with identical expertise, same credentials, same years in practice, same substantive knowledge. One operates traditionally. Manual intake, slower response times, somewhat fragmented systems, everything dependent on their personal bandwidth. They have administrative drag everywhere, whereas the other has thoughtfully enhanced workflows, better systems, faster knowledge retrieval, cleaner client communications, more efficient internal processes. Who out of the two has the advantage? Let me tell you something. That is not a hypothetical. That is the market reality in which you are operating today. I'll say that again. That is the reality that you are operating in today. There are now two pools of professionals, traditional and those who are optimized. And the gap between the two is going to start to grow. And before that makes anyone nervous, I want to be really clear. This is not about replacing professional judgment. Not even close. If you know me, the ethics of what we do, the critical thinking that we do and that we are valued for, so important. But here's the reality. In fact, when these systems become more powerful, the more human judgment matters because poor AI use is absolutely a problem. And you are starting to see this. I guarantee it. You have seen this in your practice. Think about the client who came in who used AI to prep for their meeting with you or brought in a document that they prepared with ChatGPT that you spent more time fixing than it would have cost to have you draft from the beginning. And this is because poor AI use is a problem. Blind delegation is dangerous. Bad outputs are real. Hallucinations are real. The ethical concerns I have spent so much time doing programs on, and you have gone to CLE, CME, and program after program hearing about, they are all real. The confidentiality concerns are real. So I am not sharing blind enthusiasm for these tools. But here's something interesting. Because while today's conversation is about strategic reality, we also need to recognize that the broader conversation about AI has matured. Just recently, the day I taped this episode, Pope Leo the Pope, for those of us here in Chicago, Pope Leo, released a major teaching document focused on artificial intelligence. The Pope is talking about artificial intelligence, raising concerns about exploitation, warfare, digital colonialism, and the ethical consequences of allowing technology to evolve faster than our moral frameworks. Now, whether or not you are a Catholic is not the point. The point is this: serious institutions are now framing AI not simply as a technology issue, but conversely as a human issue, a leadership issue, an ethical issue. And frankly, I think that's exactly right, because responsible adoption matters. That has always been my position. That has always been why I do the programs that I do, to share how you can safely and ethically use these tools in your professional practice. Because innovation without judgment is not leadership. But here's what I do not think is a winning strategy: ignoring what's happening. Because this is also one of the greatest leverage opportunities many professional service providers have ever seen, especially solos, small firms, independent consultants, mediators, and entrepreneurial professionals. Historically, scale required headcount, right? You needed more bodies to replicate the work you did. Welcome to the law firm model, with associates being the workhorses of a law firm. Scale required a headcount. Now, thoughtful leverage can create extraordinary operational advantage, and that's exciting. But also, it can be overwhelming, which is why I created a free resource to go with this episode for you. It's called the AI Competitive Readiness Scorecard, and it's a practical self-assessment designed to help you take an honest look at whether your practice is positioned for this changing landscape. Because, as I always say, awareness is the beginning of everything. You have to be aware of what is going on. I think most of us can feel that there's change in the air, especially lately, but awareness is good. Diagnosis is better. And you'll find that resource is linked in the show notes, or you can find it on the website at SusanneGuthrie.com/podcasts. And because I wanted to go a little deeper even, because this is such a big topic, be sure to check out this week's LinkedIn newsletter article, which explores a related question: 7 signs you're already losing ground in the AI era. Because sometimes the signs are subtle, and sometimes they're already showing up, whether we realize it or not. For all my Practice Accelerator members out there, I took it even further for you. There's an expanded implementation resource, the AI Competitive Advantage Playbook. You know I love my playbooks, guys. Because knowing this matters is one thing, actually building strategy around it is another. So if you're a member of the Practice Accelerator, you'll be receiving the AI Competitive Advantage Playbook to go along with this episode. I'll be honest, I think it's one of the most valuable and important resources of the year, because this moment right now is where you have a chance to figure out where you are in the adoption of AI and to see if you can build strategy to leverage it. Now, let me give you what I think is the most important distinction in all of this. Everything we've talked about. The real divide is not AI users versus non-users. I think that's too simplistic for what's happening. Honestly, the people who don't use it, I have no help. I have no help for those who do not use it or who are not willing to be curious and open-minded to the advantages, as long as they have the strategies for working it out. It is not going to go away. So if you are a non-user, I urge you to open your mind and think about this. Get the AI competitive readiness scorecard, go through that and see. But the real divide is strategic adopters versus the dabblers, because there are lots of people using AI. And I'm going to put the using AI in air quotes, right? A lot of people out there, but really they're dabbling. There are far fewer that are building actual competitive advantage. And that's where the gap is opening. That's where the opportunity is. Because here's the good news. It's still early. It's still messy. It's noisy. It's chaotic. It's early, which means there is tremendous opportunity for thoughtful professionals willing to experiment intelligently, strategically, not recklessly, not blindly, but intentionally. Learn, test, refine, adapt, because paralysis is not a strategy. Even if you are standing still, the market is not standing still. Before we wrap, I want to let you know that next week, we're going to take this conversation in a fascinating direction. I want to build on this because I recently had 2 conversations with respected professionals that landed completely opposite conclusions about AI use. One saw AI-assisted output as unprofessional. The other saw failure to use AI intelligently as the red flag. Same technology, completely opposite conclusions. So next week, I'll be tackling the question, AI is not the issue, judgment is. And honestly, that may be one of the most important professional conversations we can have right now. Let me pull out a few of the golden nuggets here, the things I hope that you remember. Golden nugget number 1, AI is no longer just a tool. It is becoming infrastructure. That is a strategic shift, not just a technology update. Next, your clients may not care about AI itself, but they absolutely care about the experience AI can help create. Speed, responsiveness, convenience, clarity. That is where the competition lives. Golden nugget number 3, the question is not, what is the best AI tool? The better question is, what problem am I trying to solve? Because that mindset changes everything. Number 4, the real divide is not AI users versus non-users. It is strategic adopters versus dabblers. Are you a dabbler or do you want to be a strategic adopter? Experimentation alone is not a strategy. And finally, this is not just disruption. It is that. It's uncomfortable. It's change. I get it. But it is also opportunity, especially for entrepreneurial professionals willing to adapt thoughtfully. Listeners, if this episode got your wheels turning, grab that free AI competitive readiness scorecard, which is linked in the show notes or on the website, susaneguthrie.com. And be sure to check out this week's LinkedIn newsletter. That article, 7 Signs You're Already Losing Ground in the AI Era, is really another step in this journey. And if you are ready to move beyond ideas and into implementation, check out my Practice Accelerator, where I'm going to be turning conversations like this into action plans and so much more. It's not just about AI, everyone. It's about building your practice. Thanks, everyone, for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time on the Practice Playbook podcast. Thanks so much for listening to the Practice Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love it if you'd take a moment to leave a review, follow the show, or share it with a colleague who's ready to build the practice of their dreams. If you want more support and tools like the ones you heard today, join the waitlist for the Practice Accelerator, my brand new subscription program packed with resources to help you grow smarter. You can find the link in the show notes or visit susaneguthrie.com to learn more. Until next time, stay focused, stay intentional, and remember, success starts with the right playbook.